Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Summary. I am your host, Kyle. With me, as always, is Steve. Today's show, a lot to discuss pertaining to contracts, and also the big match is going to go ahead. Liverpool hosting Man United at Anfield in the snow. Should be a good one. Steve, how you doing this morning?
I'm glad the game's on.
Me too.
I think it was Hannah yesterday in our Discord chat. By the way, if you're not a member and you'd like to join our Discord chat, become a member. We'd love to have you. We talk all things Liverpool. I think it was Hannah that said one game in hand is a luxury or helpful or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
2 games causes fixture congestion. And there she is. Hey, Hannah.
Hannah, what's up?
And I agree with that. So I'm glad the game's going on. I don't want to be sitting for the rest of the year with 2 games in hand. Just to always have to preface everything with, oh, but we have 2 games in hand. Or whatever the case may be.
It's just odd that, like, I get weather postponing games, but it's just a little bit of snow. Shouldn't they go ahead and play anyway? Regardless?
Whoever's over there, let us know how much snow there actually is. Yeah, I was surprised that they were thinking of canceling a game because of the snow. Now, of course, we want everyone traveling to be safe, and that's the big part of it is the traveling folks.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, they play in snow.
And it seems like 2 fixtures in a row now, they've thought about canceling the game for fog or snow, and it's like, well, what's going on? And usually, sports won't cancel games unless it actually affects the play on the field. You know what I mean? Like, they're usually not thinking about people traveling because they're not concerned with that. Am I wrong in saying that? It's more so about, does it affect the play?
Yeah,
but
I mean, if it's too dangerous to travel, don't travel.
Right. And so that's kind of where my head's at with it. But I'm glad it's going on. It is confirmed that it will happen. Let's give a shout out to everyone over in the chat. A lot of people here today. We got Hannah, Liz, Inspector Gary, Stellar, Oyvind. What is going on? Alexander, Mom, good morning to everyone. Make sure you slap that like button and let us know your thoughts throughout the show in the chat. Steve, do Liverpool have a contract problem, bro? We just saw that apparently the first official offer was offered to Trent of $300K per week, which comes out to, I've seen various numbers. I've seen 78 million pounds over 5 years, 93 million euros, 77. I've seen a bunch of different stuff from different reports. Trent saying that this will not play out in the media. What is your thought on this even being legit?
I think it's a realistic number. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was legit. But who knows? It's hard to say. I think 300K a week is a good chunk. And I think for the longest time, we all spoke about this, especially with Salah's last contract saga, was the wage structure, breaking the wage structure. Unfortunately, given a million different factors, inflation, success, I think the new norm is going to be paying players in the 200s over the next 5 to 6 years. People that are making 150 now, like the Milners, the Hendos of the world, the Oxlade-Chamberlains, they were all on like 150 to 180, I feel like, for a while. That's going to go up by 100,000, in my opinion. So the top players will be at 300 or more because it's just the way it works.
It is
so I don't think
down.
we're causing. Yeah, I don't think we're causing a problem by having multiple players at 300. I think they'll all make 300. I think they'll all resign. But I'm not worried about the amount. I just don't know if it's legit or not, but it seems like that could be a realistic number at least.
There's so many things that are just, have us all on the edge of our seats, right? I mean, the biggest thing going around over the last week, maybe the last 2 weeks, right, is the fact that, the talking celebration, right? People are saying, oh, he did that and Jude did that and then he went to Madrid and all that stuff, right? But now we have a solid report. Let's just call it a solid report. We don't have to call it true, but let's call it a solid report that an offer was made of 300K. We were talking last week about speculating maybe that it was 100K off of what he wanted. Maybe he was asking for 350. and we were offering him 250 or something like that. I think I may have saw a report about that. A 300K offer is a great offer for Trent. That's a phenomenal offer for Trent, for what he provides for the team, for his skill level, everything. That is a phenomenal offer. That is what Trent is worth, in my opinion. Okay. Moving forward to the wage structure thing that you were talking about, was only a matter of time before it trickled down to the players, right? Going back to when Neymar made his transfer to PSG, that affected all transfer prices across the board. Everyone was inflated. And now it seems like once one of those things happens, right? A new contract, i.e. Salah, it trickles down. And now salaries are going to go up, like you said. You're absolutely right. The next extension for Luis Diaz, perhaps, who's on 55K a week, he's probably asking for 200 or more. He's probably asking for that, which might be why the links with Barcelona are happening, because that's a team that will pay a player like that amount of money. But that's the problem you run into. Now you have 3 world-class players, probably the best players in their position, respectively, in Europe, all out of contract at the same time. And maybe Liverpool are struggling with that. Like, look, we got to give... I feel like Van Dijk's not really putting up a fight with it, but Van Dijk's on 220. Either give him the same amount of money or he might expect a raise. But given his age, I don't know. But then you have Trent, who's definitely getting a huge pay raise. And then you have Salah, who arguably could demand more money. So you have this huge situation where over 3 players, you're banking out 600K a week on new contracts. That's got to be a huge blow to the pockets of the club. You think they're struggling with that? You think that, or do you think it's just a matter of time?
No, I think it's just a matter of time. And here's why, Kyle. Think about the alternative. Okay. If you wanted to buy someone, let's just take Trent as an example, of his caliber. If you wanted to buy a right back, and I don't think there is a right back in the world of his caliber, but let's just say, who's a really good right back? Frimpong, maybe?
You cannot compare another player to Trent.
But let's just take Frimpong as an example, because I can't think of another right back that's really, really good.
Last year, you could
Hakimi, I don't know.
Hakimi, that's a good one. Okay.
Let's just say they were worth 80 million, right? If you were to go and sign Hakimi or Frimpong for 80 million, or any right back to replace Trent for 80 million, you would then have to drop 80 million and then pay them decent wages.
Right.
If you think about what Trent's getting offered, it's about 80 million over 5 years. So there's no purchase price. We already have him. So from a financial perspective, it makes sense to keep these guys, because the alternative is going out into the market, splashing anywhere from 50 to 100 million times 3, and then having to pay wages on top of that.
And getting a lesser quality player on top of that.
Yeah, you might get somebody who's younger, which is a plus, but we have to win now. The time to win is now. When you have guys like Robertson, Allison, Van Dijk, Salah on the back half of their career, all of them, take advantage of the world-class quality that you have and just pay them. Dermot saying Frimpong transfer would be around 40. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I'm just using this as an example. So
the Trent thing, I think, is just grabbing headlines because of how polarizing each outcome could be. Right? On the one hand, you have, Trent signing a new deal with his club that'll take him into his 30s, or right around 30, on big money. And on the other hand, you have him not signing for his hometown club and leaving for Real Madrid, who it would be such a crazy story. And so that's why we're seeing so much speculation on this. But is Trent wrong if we offer 300K? Let's say this is legit, and he says no to that.
I think so.
I think so too. I think that's something you got to
Let me
grab
ask
at.
you this. Let me ask you this, because here's the best way to look at it. Another great example. If he says no to 300K here and goes to Madrid, what do you think he'd get paid?
At least 350.
Okay, that's an extra 2.6 million a year.
Right. Taxed
That's
at what?
nothing.
50?
That's
50%?
nothing.
I
Even if
know.
he got 400, and there's only 4 guys over 400 in Real Madrid. Even if he got 400, which is what Bellingham gets, it's only an extra 5.2 million a week. A year, sorry, a year. So we're not talking like he's going to go over there and double his salary. He's not going to make as much as Mbappe. Mbappe only makes 600.
Only. Yeah. It's crazy.
But like, you think about Mbappe, I would expect him to be closer to like $1 million a week.
I know.
I don't know, like crazy money. Their wages, they got a lot of guys over 200. They definitely have high wages, but like really important players to them, Rudiger 280, Courtois 288, Valverde 320, Camavinga 240, Tchouaméni 240. I don't see him getting like 400K over there.
Dude, I'm
So
sorry,
if
but
it's about money, it doesn't make sense.
think about that though. Like Camavinga, in his first transfer away from Rennes or wherever the hell he came from, signed a 240K per week contract.
He may have gotten a raise. I don't know if he signed that.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he did. How long has he been there now? 3 years? 4 years? I mean, anyways, we're getting off track. I do want to give a shout out
he
to
signed
Doug.
this the end of last year.
Oh, okay.
So he got a raise.
So never mind. Shout out to Doug, been a member for 46 months. Big plus for us this season. We missed Maka in the 0-0 with United last season. Today we'll be fine going 2-0 wins. Salah and Gakpo to score. You'll never walk alone. Gakpo is definitely hot. Salah's the hottest player in Europe right now. It's definitely a good prediction there. Now, I do want to go back to a comment that Ross is saying. Why do people think contracts are a simple thing that takes seconds? Let it take its course. And let me make a quick comment on this. So you're absolutely right. But again, it goes back to how polarizing and how hot this topic is. Right? This is a player who is the closest thing to Gerrard in the sense that he's a hometown player, his skill level at this current age, and his contributions to the team. The risk reward of him leaving and not signing, it's crazy. It's just a crazy story. It's a hot topic. So in that sense, it's very emotionally involved with a lot of fans. But my issue here, Steve, and again, I can sit on the outside and speculate all I want. Why? And I know why, but I'm just going to ask the question anyway. Why are there's this middleman, the agents, who handle all this stuff for the player, on behalf of the player, let's say. Why isn't it as easy if a player wants to stay at the club? Because let's just assume Trent wants to stay. He doesn't want to go anywhere else, right? I think that's a safe assumption. He loves the club. He grew up at the club. He wants to stay. And he wants a fair wage, right? But he wants to get paid his worth. What's the problem with seeing the offer and saying it and just saying, dude, let's get it done. Let's sign it. I just want to sign it. That's great money. Let's keep it going. Why does it need to be dragged out over months and months and months?
I can tell you why in this scenario. Because anybody from the outside looking in is probably saying, how did they let arguably their three best players get into the final 6 months of their contract? But I've talked about this before. I bet you there were plans to re-sign them all last summer, but Klopp left. About a year ago, Klopp said, I'm done. There was all of this uncertainty about who's coming in. Slot. What's the system going to be like? Are we going to succeed? Are we going to drop off? Now that they know Slot's the real deal, I would imagine they like playing for him. Seems like everybody does. The problem now is the leverage is with the players.
Yep.
Because of the clock is ticking. So this is not only an opportunity. The reason we're at this point is because there was so much uncertainty with Klopp leaving. But now that the clock is ticking and we're up against the clock, the players have the leverage to say, well, I mean, I can just go somewhere else in a few months, and I can start talking to clubs now, like, give me more money. And the agents know that. And the agents are the ones pushing that. So
the naive, emotional, single team love fan in me would like to just pretend that if I was in Trent's situation, any offer from any other club, I just block out. And not the first offer, but after negotiating a little bit with the team, they offer me the money. I'm taking it, dude. I'm taking it. Right. But I know it's not always like that, especially nowadays with all the different variables that are involved in contracts, from incentives to perks to there's stuff in there with the family, there's all sorts of stuff in contracts now. And then of course the agent doing their thing, trying to get the absolute most money for their client. But at what cost? Right? I mean, why can't Trent, or any player for that matter, just call up the club and say, "Hey, look, I know you're negotiating with my agent, but I just want to let you know I'm gonna sign, but my agent's just doing his thing. Like, let him. I know that kind of takes the power away from the player, but it's just annoying, right? I just feel like it's so unnecessarily complicated. Um, but then you can make the argument that for the value that Trent brings to the team, he should absolutely just borderline extort as much money from the team as he can. Does that make sense? Like, let me just leverage the power that I have, because this is probably the biggest contract and the longest contract I'm gonna get. So there's always that argument. But it just has me thinking. It really does.
There's reasons for all three of them to stay that don't involve money. Salah is chasing Premier League records. He's not leaving the Prem. And he doesn't want to play for another Prem team. Why would he want to do that? He would be hated. He's going to resign for those reasons. He's chasing Premier League records. He wants to go down as the best Premier League player of all time. Van Dijk is the captain, and I don't think there's a step up for Van Dijk anywhere.
No.
And then as far as Trent goes, he's a Scouser. He's the one that I think would be most likely to leave, but I don't think it's likely that he leaves. But his heart and soul is Liverpool Football Club. So the money part of it, unfortunately, that's what we're waiting on, is the financial documents and the agreements and the negotiations. But let us not forget that they all have a reason to stay here. They've all achieved great things, and they will again this year. I try not to worry too much about the contract talks, but it seems like that's all anybody cares about, because all we do on the pitch is win. And all everybody else does is drop points. So the fact that all the focus is on these contracts is actually a pretty good problem to have. It means there's no drama in our performance.
And that, again, that's just leading me back to why haven't they signed yet? Everything outside of the contract itself is like, why would you want to go anywhere else? There's nowhere else you could go right now that is remotely better. I mean, even, dude, doesn't it speak to you about the players that, I mean, this happens at every club, but Daniel Sturridge, for example. Daniel Sturridge wasn't, I think, didn't he have one contract? Maybe he had two contracts, but players that play for the club and end up coming back and being part of the fan base and the team itself, whether it's in a consulting role or just coming to every game, doesn't that speak to the culture of the club? Players want to be here. And I think it's very short-sighted, greedy, you could say, and naive to even want to go anywhere else. You got to know how good you have it, because not every club is the same. Every club has a completely different culture, different personnel, obviously play styles, facilities. This club is the epitome right now in all of Europe of what you want to be in terms of how they've handled the coaching transition. how they've handled the infrastructure changes with the training pitch and the stadium. The only argument you could be made is maybe we're a little stingy at times. And I just think if we manage to hold on to all three of these guys, which I think we will, this team it's going to be a top team in Europe for a long, long time to come. I really do think that. I think this is like the ultimate test for me. Salah was the first test, the last contract that Salah signed, because there was talk of him leaving. But now if you can hold on to Trent with Madrid sniffing around, that'll be different. That'd be different. Let's go over to the chat real quick. Let me see here. Luis Garcia, what's up, man? Trent wanted a 3-year contract. Now he was given $300K for 5-year. There's no excuse for Trent. So this is a good point, but we just have to assume that both aspects of this are true, right? At his age, a 5-year contract is standard. So why he would want a 3-year contract, I don't know. But let's just assume it's true. You're absolutely right. He should be signing.
I don't know if he wanted a 3-year contract. I didn't hear that personally.
Neither did I, but that's why I said let's just assume that it's true. Dermot says, I read in the paper yesterday in the 60s, Liverpool players were paid less than the average UK wage at the time. Crazy how it's changed. Far too much money in the game. Sky ruined it. It's everywhere, dude. It's everywhere.
Now, these players get paid in accordance to the money that they generate.
Right.
So while they're making a lot of money, they generate a ton of money. And the alternative is the owners just get rich.
The owners
and the players get paid nothing. So I'd rather have the players make buku bucks than John Henry line his pockets even more, or any of these owners.
Well, that you're absolutely right. And it's probably the same in the Premier League, but at least in the States, there's a split, right? There, and I don't know what the percentage is, but owners get paid a certain percentage. And then whatever's left over, the players have to create their cap, or the teams have to create their cap. So it's probably the same in the Premier League. But people don't realize there's only, let's say there's 20 owners in the Premier League. How many players are there? There's a lot. 400 players, let's say. It's more than that with all the people on loan and everything. So you have 400 players splitting a certain amount of money, obviously the staff and everything. And then you have the owners who are just making tons of money. So for the players to use their agents and stuff to get as much money as possible, yeah, you can say it's kind of greedy, but they have to. They have to advocate for themselves because, Steve, you were right. The money they generate, not individually, but what they contribute to it, is unbelievably higher than what they're getting paid.
I also want to be clear that there are players in American sports, quarterbacks and NBA players, that make 2 times what Kylian Mbappe makes. So if you think players are overpaid in European football, take a look at some of the American sports. It is insane. There are players in the NFL that make $50 million a year and only play 16, 17 games a season. Make millions.
Yep.
Every game. Millions.
And then you
they
have
make like
players...
$3 million every time they suit up.
And let's do another example. Dak Prescott, $60 million. When was the last time he won a playoff game?
Dude, I have no idea.
When was the last time he was healthy for an entire season?
Did he just get $60 million?
He just got $60 million.
Oh, geez, I didn't even know that.
So take that example and apply it to the Premier League. You take a top player on an average team. I'm trying to think. That would be like paying, because that's the highest paid player. That would be like paying maybe Heung-min Son or maybe Richarlison. Heung-min Son might be a good example. That would like be paying him $450 or $500K a week, right? It wouldn't make any sense. He's a great player, but what does he do?
No, more than that, dude. It would be like paying him $1 million a week.
It doesn't make any sense. right? $1 million a week, which still comes out to 52 million, right? Yeah, you're right. The money is so much more over here, and I don't think we realize that, which is kind of remarkable because football is way bigger, I feel like, in terms of gross profit around the world.
Osayo, sorry if I said your name incorrectly. What's going on? Differences USA Sports have a salary cap and can put players on longer contracts. Salary cap is true to some extent. There are similarities with some of the financial fair play stuff in Europe, but as far as contracts go, 3 to 5 years is standard in American sports with the exception of baseball.
Right.
Baseball players can get like 10, 12, 13-year contracts.
It's crazy.
But that's different. Baseball is like the outlier to all of this. But there's NBA deals that are like 5 years, 250 million. That's like the max deal right now. 5 years, 300 million, whatever the case may be. So I would say, generally speaking, USA sports do not have longer contracts. Maybe they can make longer contracts, but there's about 15 guys at Chelsea right now that are on 9-year deals. And there are 0 on the New England Patriots and 0 on the Boston Celtics, which are the 2 teams that I follow right now. I don't think anybody on either of those teams is on more than a 5-year deal.
Yeah, it's nuts. And baseball is just a completely different animal. And a salary cap changes everything, right? With none of that in play, right? There's no barriers on these contracts, right? So there's no rules in place that speed up the negotiation process. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of these contract negotiations take a while, because the team, in one case, right? So Liverpool, they might want to wait until the very end of the current contract if they know the player is going to be worth more money and extend, because that saves them money, right? But the player is going to drag it out as long as possible because then he has leverage, right? Because the team knows they can't let him go. It's a lot of stuff involved. And then you can't trade. I mean, trades don't happen. They rarely happen. You have swaps. So that is a whole nother thing that the Premier League in Europe doesn't have the benefit of. Imagine if you could trade players.
I mean, you can. You essentially can, but they don't.
But they don't, right? But if they could, it would change everything. If they could trade play, like what would Trent be worth? Trent would be worth like, we want Cole Palmer and Levi Colwill and 2 academy players.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, wow, that's a hell of a deal.
If Trent were to get traded to Madrid, it would be like Valverde and Carvajal. Like someone young and exciting like him, and then maybe one other player.
Yeah. Imagine that, man. Imagine that. I think Trent, we've said this for weeks, and I still believe it, Trent's going to sign a new deal. It's just a matter of when. But another thing I wanted to say, Steve, Salah's comment this week saying, this is my last year at the club, so I want to win something. When you read that, or when you hear that for the first time, what's your initial reaction?
I want to stay. Can we please move these negotiations along?
Yeah. It's
Kyle, where is he going to go?
I know, Steve, but
I thought about this the other night. The only place, even though the club is whatever they are, the only place I could see him going, if someone had a gun to my head and I had to choose a Prem club for him to go to, it would be Chelsea, because his first spell there was trash. And because they're on the come up, there's some other decent players they have. I mean, it's a shit show. It's a dumpster fire over there still, regardless of how they've performed this season, which has been better than what most of us expected.
Yep.
It's the only place I could see him go, because he's already been there and he didn't do very well. He didn't get enough playing time, etc. But he's not leaving the Premier League. No way.
Not with how close he is to the records and everything.
No, he's got too many records.
I just think,
you know him. He's got that edge about him where
he
doesn't want to go to PSG and be, oh, Salah's really good, but he's in the Farmers League. He wants to keep crushing it, because he'll crush it wherever he goes. He wants to keep crushing it in the best league and be the best player in the world. Any league is a step down, obviously.
Right.
And if
But
you go to a team like Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, there's not as much competition. So
but that aside though, because I remember reading that, right? Remember when Mane said, "This will be my last year at the club. Like, I'm not signing a new." Like, I remember reading that, and then I get on Twitter or X or whatever, and I see that because I saw the quote before I watched it. I had the same immediate reaction that Salah just said to us, like, "There's no progress being made," which basically he said anyway. I'm not staying. That was my first reaction. But then I thought to myself, Salah's the type of guy, he's almost like so blunt. Like he's a nice guy. He's great. He's not mean. He's very super professional and a great teammate. But he's the type of guy that will come out and say, like, they haven't offered me anything. So as of now, I'm leaving. And that was kind of my thought after I read it. And what a ballsy move that is, man. Just to say that, like, look, there's nothing on the table, so I'm gone. See
he's
you
trying
later.
to get the fan. He wants. I think he wants us to put pressure on the club.
It's smart.
Also,
It's
his agent is a clown.
Oh, we know this.
If he had a different agent, I feel like we'd wrap this up a while ago. That agent is the laughing stock of agents. But yeah, I think you're right. He's like, no, we're far from an agreement, but that doesn't mean an agreement can change at any time.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because that kind of took my attention away from Trent for a minute, and I was just like, damn, what is Salah saying?
We got score predictions rolling in, so let's transition to Liverpool versus Man United.
Yeah, Liverpool.
I guess we can start with score predictions. This is
no,
new.
no, absolutely not. We're not starting with score predictions. We're gonna preview this, right? We got injuries to talk about, and of course, Slot's comments earlier this week. Look, Man United are not good right now. They're not good. What's the manager's name that we thought was going to be our manager? I can't even remember it now.
Ruben Amorim.
Ruben Amorim, dude. Ruben Amorim. The memes going around of him saying like this worked against like these tactics worked against whatever team.
No name clubs, yes.
No name club, dude. Those geek me out every time. But you know, Arne Slot saying that they have more quality than the table suggests. He's absolutely right. And whenever Man United play us, regardless of previous results, I'm telling you, it's always they come to play, rightly so. That's how Derby should be.
Who said they have more quality than the table suggests?
Slot did directly.
Oh, Slot. Yeah, no, he did say that. And look, it's a rivalry. I've been dying to talk about this. It's a rivalry, so it's going to be tough. I think it will be more difficult than when we waltzed into Old Trafford and spanked them around. Just because they need a win really, really bad. But Kyle, let me read you off their recent results. Are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready. Hit me.
Okay. Newcastle 2, United 0. Wolves 2, United 0.
Damn. Wolves.
Bournemouth 3, United 0. Tottenham 4, United 3. Then they beat City before that. Then they barely beat Victoria Pilsen, whoever that is, in Europa League. They lost to Forest. They lost to Arsenal. Dude, when Solskjaer came in, maybe even Ten Hag a little bit, they got better. It was like, okay, we suck, but here's like a new manager. Like, let's play well for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They've gotten considerably worse under this guy. Considerably worse. Like they're Kyle, in the last month, they're the worst team in the league.
Are they?
They have to be. They have 0 points. No, that's not true. They beat City.
Damn. It's them and City. It's them and City are probably the worst team since what,
Dude,
November 1st?
The last 3 Premier League matches, they've been outscored 7-0. They haven't scored in the Premier League since December 15th.
7-0 sounds familiar.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
They haven't scored in the Premier League since December 15th.
Damn. Yeah, see, that's a problem. That's a problem. You got to score because your defense is ass. You got to score. So
So bad.
I think Slot actually may have made that comment because he doesn't want people, or especially his players, going into this match thinking, "Oh, this is going to be a cakewalk," because this is the exact match where that mindset comes back to bite you.
And it's a draw, a 1-1 draw.
Yeah,
Or
1-1
something.
draw, or they sneak in and score in the 90th minute and you lose 2-1. I'm telling you right now. And where is it? Osah says we dodged a bullet with Ruben Amorim. I thought
Maybe
Ruben
not.
Amorim was the guy.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, he might be fine. But you have to think, with the exception of Maresca and what he's doing right now, which I think is a combination of all the money they've spent kind of coming together finally. If you go to Chelsea or if you go to United, you're committing suicide to your managerial career lately.
Yep.
And I think it's the club. When I look at their lineup, I'm like, what is this?
Dude.
De Ligt? Okay. The rest of them are scrubs.
This is what happened, dude. Man United have a culture problem, and they've had a culture problem for 5 years now. Okay? Ever since Mourinho left, which I don't even know what year that was. Can't remember. That was the last time Man United were a disciplined football club. With the amount of turnover they have and the amount of egos they have in that team, they are right now a worse version of what Chelsea were last year and 2 years ago. When you have that culture problem, and then like you said, you look at the team and there's no quality whatsoever, and then you have the coaching turnover, what are you doing? You're part of a sinking ship. The ship is halfway underwater and you're trying to paddle. All right? It's what it is.
Kyle, the problem with the difference between them and us when we were paddling in a circle,
Yeah.
they don't have a paddle.
They're with their hands.
Dude, it's not even like, oh, we're waiting for this guy to get back from injury. There's no one. They have injuries. They've battled injuries, but nobody's going to come save them. There's not a single world-class player on that team. Can you believe that? Manchester United does not have a single world-class player.
And you could have argued a few years ago that Bruno was world-class, but you guys were talking about this in the chat the other day. He's the worst example of a team captain you could have. Worst example of a team captain. If that's the culture you want to build your club around, it's awful. What are you doing? So, Man United, where's that comment? I had it up here. Can't verify it, but I'm going to say it anyway. So, Ash LFC says, Man United are 18th based on the last 5 Premier League games, only picked up 3 points, which I'm assuming was the win against Man City. Based on the last 10 games, they're 15th. Okay, and what are they in the table right now? 13th? 12th? They're bottom half, I think.
Last I checked, they were 14th. Let me see.
Okay, let's go with 14th. And going into this match, I'll read you guys the team news here. So we know Bradley and Konate are out, I think.
14th.
And of course, Joe Gomez is out. What you said, 14th? 14th, okay.
Yes.
So, Joe Gomez, injured. He's out, okay? He'll be sidelined for several weeks due to the hamstring injury in the 5-0 win. Oh, my God, we destroyed West Ham. I forgot about that. And, of course, Bradley and Konate have not played since the victory over Real Madrid in late November. But they did resume full training on Friday afternoon and may be available for the game today. May be available. Okay? Slot said Joe, of course, not in a good place when it comes to his injury. But Connor and Ibu will train with us today, referring to, I'm assuming, Friday. So he's curious and interested to see where they exactly are, of course. They have worked hard to come back to the team, but the next step is always, how do you handle team sessions? They will train with us today, the 2 of them. So that was before the training session. I'm a little optimistic, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I still think Kwanzaa starts. I don't think you just throw Konate back into the lineup, personally. Soboslai served his suspension, so he's available again. And we got 4 players that are 1 yellow card away from a suspension. Gakpo, Gravenberch, Konate, and Darwin. Darwin, Jesus. Now, going over here, dude, Steve, wait for these stats, bro. Goals scored for Liverpool, 45. Man United have 21 goals in 19 matches played. No offense whatsoever. Okay? Conversion rate for them is 11.5%. Liverpool are at 20%, so 1 in every 5. Liverpool have over double the amount of assists that Man United have. Of course, they have double the amount of goals as well. Bruno and Manuel Ugarte are eligible to return for the visitors after they were suspended. They're going to be without Marcus Rashford, though.
Oh, no, what a loss.
Yeah. What a overpaid, good guy. No problem with it. I think he has all the talent in the world, but that dude does not produce.
No, he does not have the talent anymore, Kyle. He's washed.
How old is he now? Is he 30?
27, maybe.
Oh, yeah, okay. So
he's washed. He's completely washed. Question about the guys with the yellow cards.
Yes.
If they get one more, they get a suspension.
Correct.
Does that, if they don't get one today, does that mean that they're, like, how does it work? When does it reset? Or does it not reset?
I don't think it resets. It's every 5 yellow cards.
So every 5 yellow cards, you get a suspension?
Yeah, and it could get worse with 10. I don't know. I don't know, but I do know it doesn't reset. It resets every season, obviously, but Ever says must watch out for Amad Diallo. So let's go over to the injuries here. So Bruno Fernandes. Oh, Marcus Rashford. So this is what Amorim said. He said, I think he's going to be out this week, referring to Marcus Rashford. There was no update provided for Victor Lindelof, Mason Mount, and Luke Shaw. Dude, Mason Mount. Oh, my God. Johnny Evans was not part of United's 20-man squad on Monday night. On his approach for the game, Amorim said, I adapt all the time. We played most of the game. We have played most of the game with 3 midfielders, so Bruno sometimes is in different position. I adapt to every opponent because I think it's important. No matter the quality of our team, we have to look at the opponent to understand what kind of game we will have. So I will do the same. I will do this game with the same principles. Oh, my God. Now, the lineup for Man United in their 2-0 loss to Newcastle was Onana, De Ligt, Maguire, Martinez, Mazraoui, Dalot, Casemiro, Eriksen, Diallo, Xerxes, and Højlund.
You know who's in trouble today, Kyle? Bruno Fernandes. He's going to have Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai hounding him the whole match.
He's not doing a damn thing today. A damn thing, Steven. Are you kidding me?
He can always like pull something out of nowhere, maybe. But yeah, it's going to be a rough day for him, I think.
Okay, so we're getting so this is good to know. So at the halfway mark, it resets. That's what a lot of people are saying. So yeah, that's good.
That is good.
Oyvind said Martinez going to drown in the snow. There was a meme out there today, and it was Martinez head above snow. It said there's 2 centimeters of snow at Anfield right now. It's like, God, that's good. I just don't understand having a 5'10" center back. It makes no sense, dude. What kind of purchase is that?
I think the joke is that he constantly gets dropped and crossed up and falls to the ground.
Well, let's make it both.
Let's make it both.
Let's make it both. Yeah, no, he got carved up. Who carved him up? Who was that?
Salah.
Oh my God, that was great.
He fell on the ground and did a spin.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, he was trying to row, and he just kept doing circles. God, man. He can't even jump. Or even Salah going to make Martinez drown in the snow. Yeah, you might be right, dude. Kind of crazy. So, with all that in mind, Steve, what is your lineup prediction for Liverpool here?
Do we know what shape the pitch is in? Is it covered?
I've seen...
Or has it been covered?
Well, dude, they definitely have, like, stuff under the pitch to heat it up, don't they?
They got to have something. Hopefully they covered it. But assuming that the pitch is in Here's the thing. I don't know what shape the pitch is in. I'm assuming it's in good shape.
I've
I don't
seen
think we're going to
videos
dump
this morning.
5 on them. I don't think we're going to dump 5 on them. I think it'll be a little slick, a little icy. But I feel comfortable saying 3-1.
Dude, okay, well, I asked for the lineup prediction. But anyways, this the last time that I remember that Salah played in snow at Anfield, he put 4 past Watford.
Yeah.
All right? So if there's anything like that game, this is going to be epic. All right? And Lyle says the pitch is clear, so thank you to Lyle for that. And I saw videos this morning that the pitch was clear. So it shouldn't be an issue. Oyvind said there's no snow on the pitch. They do have heating. They have to have heating now. They redo the pitch every year. They've got to have some heating elements under the pitch. So, plus, it's not all real grass. It's like a hybrid grass. You know what I'm talking
Pretty
about?
sure it's grass.
No, it is. It's real grass, but they have hybrid. It's hard to explain. Okay, I'm not going to do it here on the show, but I'll talk to you after. Talk to you after the match. So, lineup predictions, Steve. Go ahead.
Allison, Robertson, Van Dijk, Kwanzaa, Trent.
Allison,
McAllister, Gravenberch, Soboslai, Diaz, Gakpo, Salah. And I think it should be nailed on as that.
And you said Gravenberch, McAllister, Soboslai?
Mm-hmm.
And you said Gakpo, Diaz, Salah? Yeah.
That's what it has to be.
That's absolutely what it has to be. That's the only lineup that makes any sense, dude. Did you say Robbo and Trent?
Robbo, Trent, Kwanzaa, Virgil. Back line.
Maybe Konate. It's a game time decision, but I still wouldn't start Konate even if he did have a good session on Friday.
What was his injury?
It was muscular, I thought. It's like
was it hamstring?
It must have been a hamstring.
Because if it's a hamstring, you certainly don't want to rush him back. But I don't know. I guess I haven't been paying attention to Konate. It doesn't feel like we've missed him much because of Gomez. But if it was like a shoulder or something, then yeah, bring him back.
Yeah, get out there. Put a sling on and get out there, buddy. So, what about Jota, bro? I keep forgetting about Jota.
He's the super sub. Gakpo has killed United, and he's in crazy form right now.
Oh my God! And so is Diaz.
And so is Salah, Kyle. They have to play.
They
have to play. And then the good problem to have is towards the end of the game, when De Ligt can barely walk, and whoever else is playing center back, Martinez, they're just dying. You bring in Darwin to chase them down and make runs in behind. You bring in Jota to be clinical from the left. You keep Salah on. You bring on Curtis Jones. You bring on Harvey Elliott, and the magic just continues.
It's unreal how well.
This could be a 5-0 now that I get fired up and thinking about it. They stink.
There's nothing that's preventing Liverpool from putting 5 past them today. Nothing, Steve. They have no attack. They have no defense. You think Martinez is going to stop a 6'4" Gakpo, a record-setting Salah, and Diaz? You think Bruno, like you said, is going to dribble past Gravenberch, Van Dijk, McAllister, and Kwanzaa? With Soboslai breathing down his neck? There's no chance.
No, there's no chance. And Barry, welcome. He says, no matter how crap United are, it's still the biggest game. And we can't get too confident. We just need to get the win. While I totally agree with this, the 3 points is obviously most important. And it is an insane rivalry. And these games can always prove to be either very lopsided or very, very close. However, United stinks. And we are the best team in the world right now. Not to mention all the fans that thought the game may be canceled that traveled to Anfield. They're going to be at full voice. That place is going to be rocking. So with all of those factors in mind, we should crush them. But yes, Barry, 3 points, just get the win is the most important. The fans also know that Arsenal dropped points yesterday. They know Chelsea's had a dip in form. They need to will Liverpool over the finish line for 3 points today. We need to capitalize on the fact that Arsenal dropped 2 points yesterday. We have to. Keep building the gap. Keep building the gap.
There's no question that this is a game that can easily become competitive and it can easily slip through the cracks if you don't go in prepared. but this team is playing like a unit, like an unstoppable train, dude. And you have two minds right now. You have a team that's struggling to find form, frankly, a team that's struggling to get points, and you have a team that can't stop scoring. You have a team that's just, I mean, there is no reason. All these score predictions are valid. You got 6-0, Oyvind staying humble, going 4-0. I mean, these are all very, very valid predictions. And what do we got? Inspector said 3-1. Oh, no, never mind. That's the formation. Sorry. Lyle says, United right now remind me of the vibe around the Boston Celtics when Rick Pitino said Larry Bird isn't walking through that door. They are a doomed side right now. Steve, what? Nothing? You don't even know. Some fan you are. Liz, 4-0. 4-0 to Liverpool. Shout out to everyone in the chat today. A lot of people here. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're live every Sunday for the Sunday summary. And Steve, now it's time. Score prediction.
3-1. Salah with 2. Gakpo with 1. Assisted by Salah. 2 goals and an assist for Salah today. How about you?
I'm gonna go 4-1. We concede first. And it's on a stupid block shot that rebounds right to the foot of someone and they just tap it in. And one of those stupid goals. And then we just
Certainly hope that's not the case.
put 4 past him, dude. I'm telling you. That's what's going to happen. We got 5-0 from Alexander, 6 Sandy Bailey. Ross says secretly I'm hoping for 10-0.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all are.
Holy crap. I mean, that would just be insane. But Steve, thanks for being here, man. Looking forward to the match. Any closing thoughts?
It's an important game. Thankfully, it's going on because of the weather. Hopefully, everyone stays safe over there. It's an important match. It's 3 points is mandatory, Kyle. Mandatory. That's all I got.
Couldn't have said it better. I mean, 3 points is mandatory, but it's also take the opportunity to embarrass your biggest rivals. Take the opportunity to just tell them, look, you guys are ass. And we're going to put 5 past you just to prove it to you. Okay?
I also want to stick it to Amorim, too, and just say, like, welcome to the Premier League.
Yes.
Like, I don't have anything against the guy, but just, like, welcome.
No, it's
you beat City, yeah. Like, that's probably not going to happen again. But this is Anfield. Welcome. Because I don't think he's ever managed here.
Like, you think that you can come from the Portuguese league to Man United and then get results? No, you're ass.
We can't allow that to happen.
Starting Maguire and Martinez and thinking you're going to stop Gakpo and Diaz and Salah. No, sir. Sit down. I mean, it's just they need to just take it to him, bro. There is no excuse for not crushing this team like we did against West Ham. There's literally no excuse. Just do it, boys. Just get it done. Steve, thanks for being here. Thank you to all of our channel members as always for supporting the show. You know, we couldn't do it without you guys. And Steve, thanks for being here this morning. Looking forward to the match, Reds. And until next week, Reds, take care.